Hey guys, how are y'all doing today? My name is Nate, and today I'm here with a Beggar's Bazooka jumping tutorial. I've actually been really excited to teach this to you guys, because jumping with the Beggar's Bazooka is a whole lot different than jumping with the other normal rocket launchers. Plus, rocket jumping with the Beggar's Bazooka is really important, because if you watched my last video, I kind of explained like all the upsides to using the Beggar's Bazooka and like how you dive bomb and all that. So having a lot of mobility and being really aggressive with this weapon is really important. So I'm just going to go over the different jumps that you can do with the Beggar's Bazooka, and why they're actually kind of handy in actual games. Now first off, it's really important to know some basic rocket jumping skills before you do this. Because if you're new to rocket jumping, this might be a little bit trickier than you would think. So if you would like to, you can check out this basic rocket jumping tutorial here. And it will kind of help you be more prepared for Beggar's Bazooka jumping. Now to start off, you just want to practice doing normal rocket jumps. Because you have to load a rocket first before you shoot it, it gets kind of awkward when you want to try to get the timing right. So just practice loading one rocket and shooting it off of the ground and launching yourself into the air. Now doing this is basically the same as using a normal rocket launcher. It's just kind of awkward and weird at first to load the rocket before you shoot. So getting this down will be important if you want to do the more advanced stuff later. Now the one thing that makes the Beggar's Bazooka really stand out from the other rocket launchers is the overload rocket. And the overload rocket is basically when you load too many rockets into your Beggar's Bazooka, and the rocket explodes and does damage to you. Now because the overload rocket does damage to you, you can basically use it as a normal rocket jump. Now what's really great about this is that you can pretty much aim anywhere, and the rocket will send you off in the opposite direction. So even if I was aiming to my side where there's no wall or anything, I could still do a normal jump like there was a wall there. Now the overload rocket is used especially when you want to jump in on a group of people, because you can use that third rocket they use as the overload to jump in and then release two rockets on the people you're aiming at. So it's a really aggressive way of using this weapon. Now once you've overloaded your third rocket, you can basically do the same thing with your other two rockets if you keep reloading. And here's why this is actually really useful. When you overload your third rocket and you do a normal rocket jump into the air, you can use your other two rockets to overload while you're still floating in the air. And you're basically building speed on top of one another and just flying across the map. So you're touching no surfaces at all, and you're still doing like normal rocket jumps across the map. It's really cool. And this is a really great way to just get behind people and flank them on the other side. And you're going to use this a ton when you get into really open maps. But of course, getting this down is tricky, because you have to make sure to aim in the opposite direction that you want to go. Because you might accidentally look in front of you or off to your side, and you might do damage to yourself, and you won't go flying in the direction you want to go. So practicing aiming behind yourself is really important. And next up, we're going to talk about the wall jump, and this is a really important thing you need to know. A wall jump is done by loading two rockets into your Beggar's Bazooka, and then using one rocket to shoot off of the ground, and another rocket to shoot off of the wall. And if you do this right, you can gain a ton of speed, and actually go really high too. So this is a fantastic way to just get to people quickly. Now of course aiming this is really tricky, because you have to aim off of the ground first, and then you have to quickly shoot off of the wall. So you just kind of have to get the aim down on this part. And plus, if you've wall jumped before with the normal rocket launcher, this is going to be kind of easier to do. Because the rockets unload really fast out of the rocket launcher, it means you can gain a ton of speed really quickly. Now a similar way of jumping is to actually use the wall first and then move towards the ground when you rocket jump. So it's basically the opposite of wall jump. You're going to look at the wall first, and then you're going to quickly aim towards the ground to gain a ton of speed. And you kind of want to make sure to aim more horizontal this time. Because with the wall jump you're going to aim more down so you can get more height with it. But with this you want to get more speed. So making yourself level with the wall and then quickly switching straight towards the ground will help you get a ton of speed. It's kind of similar to the normal rocket launcher, except it's all happening much quicker. And next up we're going to talk about sync jumps. For those of you who don't know what exactly that means, it's when you shoot two rockets at the same spot at the same time, to basically get more height than you could with just a normal rocket jump. Now I find that getting syncs with the Beggar's Bazooka is actually a lot easier than a normal rocket jump. Because you're shooting the two rockets very quickly, it makes it a little bit easier to get the timing right. So all you really have to do is load two rockets while you're still in the air, and when you get close to hitting the ground you're going to release them, and you're just going to basically bounce off of those two rockets. It's actually really cool how much height you can get. Probably won't be as useful in actual games, but you can still use it to your advantage in a lot of situations. And lastly, we're going to talk about two more jumps here with the overload rocket. The first one is when you use the overload rocket to do a wall jump. Now like before with the normal wall jump, you're basically just using two rockets to jump off of it. But this time we're going to use the overload rocket first, and then we use two rockets once we get towards the wall. And this one requires a lot of timing to do. What you have to do is once you jump off of your overload rocket, you're going to release a rocket as soon as your second rocket overloads, so they basically shoot at the same time. And getting this down will help you gain a ton of speed, as you can see right here. This is probably going to be really useful in the bigger maps like Upward and Badwater. Now this last jump we're going to talk about here is probably my most favorite one to use, because there's actually quite a few spots you can use it on open maps. Basically what you do is you use your overload rocket while you're still kind of level with the ground, and you shoot behind yourself. And you release the other 2 rockets when you're close to the ground. This is kind of similar to a normal wall jump like we talked before, except you're using 2 rockets and we're gaining a lot more speed. So what we're doing is we're loading 3 rockets, we're using our 3rd rocket to overload and send ourselves forward, and then we use the other 2 rockets to quickly shoot off of the ground and gain a lot of speed and height. It's actually really incredible just how far you can go with this. And it's actually not too hard to pull off once you get the hang of it. Now rocket jumping with the Beggar's Bazooka is going to be really weird at first. Like with my first time, I picked it up and I was like, how on earth do you do this? I actually found another player called Blind Pyro, and he's a fantastic Beggar's Bazooka jumper. And he's basically where I learned most of my jumps from. So I would suggest going looking at his videos and seeing how he uses them in actual games. And of course, you guys just need to practice the overload rockets and normal rocket jumps with it. And if you spent enough time with it, then it'll get so much easier to do, and it's actually a lot of fun to use. Anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit of something about jumping with the Beggar's Bazooka, and hopefully you can all try out this weapon and have a lot of fun with it. And later I'm going to post more jumping videos with other classes and stuff, but until then, I will see you guys next time.